But first, revenge of the Tiger moms, armed with new data about just how much harm masks in school do and just how little they do to prevent serious disease. Now the fight is on.
We know that the risks of Omicron for children are minimal. Public health officials know that the masks that you require do not work against this variant and have called them useless facial decorations. Of course,
there are a few parts to this story. First, the parents, Carrie, Lukas, who you just heard from, will be with us in a minute. And there is some powerful new data behind her argument from The Atlantic, hardly a conservative outlet. The case against masks at school districts should rethink imposing on millions of children an intervention that provides little discernible benefit. If we are supposed to follow the science, and the science is clear, why keep masking 5-year-olds who are far, far more likely to die in a car crash or from drowning than from COVID? It ties into something we've been talking about for a while, months now, actually. When do we blow the whistle on the perpetual pandemic and get back to our normal lives? Here's former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb.
Society isn't going to tolerate these things in perpetuity. The mitigation that we've adopted have to be used to deal with epidemic peaks, not be a constant way of life.
But it feels like there are so many people who want it to be a constant way of life. We've talked a lot about why that is. Political power is the biggest reason, but there are more. We're going to get into that with George Will in a few minutes, including the important developments in the Spotify versus Joe Rogan debate. The left wants Rogan canceled, literally, over his COVID vaccine comments and questions. The media think Rogan is a right-wing nut, saying stupid stuff and should be covered that way. Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, two, shall we say, aging artists, have demanded Spotify pull Rogan. That Spotify has refused. It's a business story. We'll cover it that way. How much power do aging musicians actually have? Apparently not a lot. As a society, we are only as good as the next generation, and there is growing evidence COVID restrictions are causing irreparable harm. UK, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and others follow the World Health Organization that says having kids wear masks is, in a word, stupid. Yet 26 million kids in America wear a mask every day. Here's the map of states with mask mandates for schools. You will notice that Virginia is not on the list, and it's the source of potential lawsuits between school boards and parents in the liberal part of the Commonwealth over the issue. Once again, same parent, Carrie, Lukas.
My first grader has never been inside his school without a mask. He's never had a chance to smile at his friends or hear his teacher's unmuffled voice, and it is outrageous and ridiculous.
She isn't alone. There's lawsuits from California to Massachusetts. Carrie joins us now. Any response from the school board?
No, I haven't heard anything from the school board, and my kids are back in school and are wearing masks again because they have refused, the school has refused to give them the option that the governor has said is our right. It's incredibly frustrating.
Why do you think the school board is so interested in keeping the mask mandate?
At this point, I think it's purely political. This is our school board is made up of 12 Democratic members. They are from a very blue area, and we're very obviously personally upset about the victory of Governor Youngkin. And I think they just see this as their team blue, and the kids, kids are pushed to the side, and they want to keep this just as a thumb in the eye of the governor.
I just want to be clear, because you're making a pretty serious charge that you've got members of the school board that are intentionally harming children, because that's what the research shows, for political ends.
Well, I think that they may very well believe, I think that some people are so dug in on this idea that that masks are good, that they may still have internalized that, and they don't see a downside to it. I think a lot of these folks really have bought the data or bought the argument that this is somehow helping kids. But honestly, I find that almost hard to believe, because presumably these are people who actually see elementary schoolers in progress. I sometimes wonder when you hear people talk about mask use and its benefits, I think, have these guys been around little kids? Because I've got a 7-year-old and his mask comes home. Obviously he's been taking it on and off all day, touching it with his hands, getting it rather dirty. It seems beyond imagination to me that anybody would think this was, a health benefit. But apparently that's what they've claimed, and I maybe I should give them the benefit of the doubt and think they're just very misled and do believe that, and it's not all just political.
So if we go down the idea that they have this sincerely held belief, and there are people who, for example, you have a family that has a grandma living at home who's immunocompromised, and God forbid she gets COVID because she's going to die. Cloth masks worn perfectly protect you about 37% of the time. Therefore, all kids should wear masks to protect that one family.
I think that's it's a pretty ridiculous argument. This is really the first time, I think, in history where we've decided to put the needs of the very oldest Americans ahead of the next generation. Most parents, I know my parents both are cancer survivors. They're living with cancer. And the last thing in the world they would think is we want a whole generation of children to wear masks for 40 hours a week on the off chance that this may somehow benefit me. I think most grandparents don't want their kids to not be able to live a normal life.
Glenn Youngkin won on the education issue, which we've covered a lot. And now he said there's no mask mandate, but school districts in blue parts of the state say they're going to keep these mandates. How does this end up getting litigated?
Yeah, well, we have been told that the Virginia Supreme Court will be considering whether the legality of this, and it really is frustrating as a parent because when it heard that this was something where an executive order came out of the previous Democratic governor and everybody followed along and took it very seriously, and now that executive order has been rescinded or been revised so that parents are supposed to have an opt-out, that somehow now school districts like mine are deciding just to ignore that. It's very frustrating, and I don't understand how it's legal. That while this is
you said the Supreme Court's going to decide whether it's legal or not, and then go from there. Carrie, we appreciate you being on. Obviously, you're a very vocal and powerful advocate for your kids. Any child would be lucky to have that in a parent. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate it. Bring in Margie Smekelsen, infectious disease scientist, microscopicist, who made the case against masks in schools. You wrote the piece in The Atlantic, "The Case Against Masks at Schools. Districts should rethink imposing on millions of children an intervention that provides little discernible benefit." Boy, there's got to be a lot of other scientists who are really angry at you for this, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is very reminiscent about, when I was trying to reopen the schools last year, when people were saying it wasn't safe. And I was like, take a look around. There's a lot of schools that are open, like Europe is mostly open and a lot of states have opened. But a lot of the East Coast and the West Coast kept closed, and we just did not look at the data. So the anger that I'm feeling now is the same that I felt last year. So I'm quite used to it.
You work at NIH, which is the place that Dr. Fauci is, and that we follow the science. Why, if the science is as clear as you say it is, are people angry at you for talking about it?
I just want to say that I give a disclaimer. I am not representing the NIH.
Fair enough.
I was there, but
but you're employed there. You're a scientist. You believe in science. I'm just wondering why people who seem so deliberate about science, and if the science is as clear as your article makes it out to be, why they would be so angry with you and question it.
I think in the beginning, the science wasn't as clear. I think a lot of us masked up because, it was a very panicked beginning of the pandemic. But as time goes on, it's 2 years in, we just don't have the robust evidence we need to justify continue masking in school, especially when you weigh against the potential harms. I think health officials have dug in their heels. It's very hard to change course and admit when you're wrong, but that is science. That is a part of science. You make a hypothesis, you test it. If it fails, you change your hypothesis. And, we're at a turning point in the pandemic. Omicron has really forced us to realize that this virus is not going anywhere. And Omicron is easing. Our children are now eligible to be vaccinated for 3 months now. Now is the time to figure out the best way forward to get these schools back to normal as much as we can. And this requires taking a very hard look at the data behind the mitigation.
And I want to get to the data, and you make a great point that the hardest words in the English language are "I'm wrong," and people have a very difficult time saying this. The mask enthusiasts would push back against this and say, look, COVID case comparison, 16 per 100,000 schools with mask requirements, 35 per 100,000 without mask requirements. COVID's dangerous. Got to drive the numbers down.
So we looked at a lot of different studies, including those studies that you're citing there. There were several studies last year, including one by the CDC, that showed that student masking did not, significantly impact case rates in schools. This year, we're able to compare districts with and without mask mandates, neighboring districts that, you can control for things like vaccination rates and demographics and things like that. And we're not really seeing that much difference in case rates between schools. Nearly half of US districts currently do not have mask mandates. There are some countries that never mask students.
I get the other issue is that, and I'm trying to think about this, but you're protecting against what? We so much of science is choosing what metrics to care about, right? And if you think about how do we prevent kids from dying, of COVID-19 in kids, 0.00 to 0.02 cases resulted in death. Childhood deaths in the United States from COVID-19 and other causes. COVID-19, less than 500. Firearms, well over 1,000. Motor vehicle deaths, well over 1,500. I guess it'd be a little bit like saying, okay, we're not going to have kids ride in cars because some die in traffic fatalities.
Right. I mean, I think in the beginning of the pandemic, we all masked up to protect the vulnerable. The logical off-ramp for masks was when vaccines were widely available to all adults. And so that was, I guess, March of 2021. And
I understand why we did everything that we did before, but if we look forward, why is there, other than not being willing to admit that people are wrong or that the science has changed, do you sense among a certain part of the scientific community that there is a love of the power, a love of the control of life to continue, like, for example, the CDC saying mask all these kids even when the World Health Organization says no?
I think that we have generally taken an overly cautious approach, and we are afraid to, a lot of people are afraid to, give in. And with masks, it's very hard to quantify the harms. Unlike some other mitigations, like, school closures.
Yeah, shutting down businesses is really easy to show the challenges. Masks, it sort of is a way to take toenail clippers from grandma at the TSA checkpoints, and everybody feels like they're doing something. Margery, your work is brave, and more importantly, your willingness to look at the data and change and talk about it. I know it may be unpopular, but we're sure glad you were here to talk to us, and come back as you find out more, all right?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.